Hey friends, welcome to Lotus and the Light. My name is Jennifer, and this is another edition of our high vibe diet for 2026, or whatever year you're watching this. Okay, so we're talking about shedding some weight that we no longer need to carry in the new year. And I want to talk about the weight, the unnecessary weight of reality that we carry, and talk about exploring an exercise regimen and using your imagination. Um, and I know people are saying, hi, I live in reality. So using my imagination isn't going to help me with that reality. And I am sorry that my phone was not silenced. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the importance of imagination. Um, let's just jump right into it. What am I saying? I'm going to talk about it. Let's just talk about it, right? Okay, so we get caught up in this 3D reality around us, and we say, these are my circumstances, and my circumstances determine how I feel. They determine my experience and how I feel. And that can be it can feel great sometimes, but it also can be very heavy burdened. But I believe that that is a misunderstanding of the reality that you're living in. And the misunderstanding really comes down to the idea that it's your reality, your current reality, that's determining how you feel, when in fact it's the reverse. It's how you feel is determining your reality. Everything starts as energy. We are energy in motion, and energy in motion, emotion, is what we are. We are emotional, energetic bodies. Spirit communicates to us and guides us through the language of emotion. And everything we do in this 3D physical reality, we do at the starting point of energy, of emotion. Okay. And if you don't believe me, think about literally anything and tell me where that came from. So every invention, this cell phone that we're so attached to, started as 333 on the clock. Spirit, thank you, Spirit. They must have some. So threes are all about life lessons. So we're learning a real life lesson here. Anyway, this phone was an idea in someone's mind before it was ever in the physical 3D reality. And there's not a reality that exists where something existed before it was a thought that formed from a feeling, from an idea, from a feeling. I mean, it all translates back to that non-physical energy first. Even you and I, we are creations of a grand designer who first had a thought, who first had an emotion of, boy, how would it feel? How exciting would this be? Wouldn't this be beautiful? Right. And then that turned into thoughts and ideas that then turned into realities. Everything starts as non-physical energy first. And so, and therefore starts really in our imagination. Um, if another, again, I feel like I'm having to sell you on this, right? Because for a lot of you guys, this is going to be a new concept, a new idea that could this possibly be true? So let me just give you another compelling little science experiment here that we can do together. I'm going to suggest that your brain does not know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. And to put this to the test, I want you to imagine that these nails right here are going down a chalkboard. What does that do to you? Just so you know, it does nothing to me for whatever reason. Nails down a chalkboard does not bother me. But for you, for many of you, what's that doing to your body? Okay. If that doesn't get you, this one gets me every time. I want you to imagine that, look, I just starting to imagine it. My body already gets chills. I want you to imagine the thinnest piece of paper just slicing across your hand, just slicing across your fingertip. Oh gosh, I can't even. Um, did you have a visceral reaction to either one of those examples? If you didn't, I would venture to guess there's some other example of something else that really gets under your skin that would give you that kind of response. The reason you had that response is because your brain does not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. To your brain, those nails, the idea of the nails down the chalkboard was that happening in reality. And as a response, your body does not lie. So your body has to respond naturally and truthfully to what your brain is telling it is happening. And so that's why you have that response. So if that doesn't suggest to you that your imagination is powerful, then I got nothing else for you. I'm sure some scientists do, but I don't. Um, so, based on this idea that our imagination is powerful, and that it is the starting point to our reality, I mean, that in and of itself, I feel like lifts a weight because it brings hope to what some people might say is a hopeless situation. Everybody's living a different reality, right? And so for some people, they might be living in a really hard, tough time, and they may not see hope of a way out. Especially when you're relying on the external to dictate how you're going to feel and the experience you're going to have in life, which is again backwards. But if that's has been your belief system, and you've been putting your expectations on the world to turn things around, that can feel hopeless. But now you get to take back power. You get to take back control by knowing and understanding that is through your imagination that you will dictate your own future. Um, and think about the things that you have now and how you ended up with them. If you have a house, if you have a home that you own or even rent, but it's a home that you like and enjoy, how did you end up there? Because at some point you had the desire, you had the dream, you had the feeling that, wow, wouldn't it be wonderful to have my own home? And it started as an energetic feeling that turned into an idea that and a thought and those thoughts turned into actions that led you down a path that landed you in the home that you are in. Okay, so now let's think about this in terms of how we balance reality with our imagination. Okay, because this is what we're really talking about is the spiritual diet, the diet of releasing weight that we're carrying that we don't need to be. And that weight is the burden of your current reality. A lot of us, I won't say we get stuck in our current reality, but it feels like we get stuck in our current reality because we dig our heels into it. We say, this is our reality, and I have to be here because it's real. And we dig in and we dig into circumstances that sometimes we don't like. Um, and so I'm here to just suggest that you just loosen your grip on that. Just loosen your grip because your reality is nothing more than just a snapshot of your energetic frequency. It's just a moment in time. I say that, but time is only a construct of this human experience, because outside of this human experience, everything is eternal. We are eternal. We are here forever. We were, we are, and we will be here. But in this human experience, um, what you're experiencing is within a construct of time. And so your reality is just a snapshot of a moment in time of what your energetic vibration manifested for you. Okay. Of what your actions produced, of what your thoughts and beliefs produced for you in your life. And if you're not in love with that reality, never fear, let go of it. You don't have to stay in that reality forever. In fact, the only thing that holds you in a particular reality for any extended period of time is you and your beliefs. And there's no reason why you need to hold on to that. Now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky because we think the path to change really is within ourselves, but we think it is with physical actions and behaviors and like, okay, if I want to change my circumstance, I have to go do this. That's where a whole nother belief system comes into play. And that also can be a heavy burden. The burden that this reality is heavy and I don't want to sit in it any longer, but to get from here to something better, I have to do certain things. The only thing you have to do is let go of whatever you're believing that's holding you onto that and allow yourself to receive something better. It's just our belief systems that get in the way of where we are and where we want to be. And if you want to understand that a little bit better, look at whatever it is that brings you a negative feeling in your life. That feeling is spirit's way of showing you where it is you need to do some cleanup, where you need to clean up your diet. It's not about what you're eating, it's about what you're believing. It's the stuff you're taking in and taking on because of your belief systems. Okay. So if there's a person in your life that just makes you feel negative, it isn't about that person. That's about you. So you need to say, okay, spirit's showing me that I have a negative feeling about this. What is it I'm believing about this person? Well, I don't like the way they do this, this, and this. Okay, why does that bother me? And so you can start peeling back those layers and understanding. But doing that work even can be difficult because we're doing it through our mind instead of through our heart when we do it that way. I was always an overanalyzer. I analyzed everything with my mind, and you can get there, just like you can say a prayer with your mind, and you may eventually realize that prayer, but it has to pass through logic, reason, experience, consciousness, um, 3D reality, time, space, all these things that your human mind filters everything through. Okay. We do things through our heart. We just recognize that, I have a negative feeling about that, and I don't need to carry that negative feeling anymore. I think I'm just going to let it go. And if there's something I need to understand about it, I'm just going to trust that God is going to reveal it to me through my heart. You will have the answer by tomorrow morning without ever having done anything or thought about anything. Okay. It's instant. It's instant because the heart's connection to spirit knows no time, knows no space, knows no judgment, knows no reason, rational, nothing, nothing, nothing. None of the boundaries that we put around our reality. Okay. I feel like I've gone off on a tangent. So let me just tap in here. I feel spirit with me. I feel like I've been going in the right direction. Maybe we'll just cut to a card here. What deck? You know what? I think I'm gonna actually go to Wild Reflections Tarot, and maybe Spirit can guide us a little bit more. Maybe we'll do two cards, like one card to talk a little bit more about where we are, what we might be getting hung up in or caught up in, and then another card that'll be more around where we're headed. Okay. Two of Swords. I love this. Okay. So Swords is all about our truth. Okay. And so you see, Two of Swords is all about making that choice and finding balance in our belief system. And so the fact that she's blindfolded here tells me, like, sometimes what we choose to believe, we're just like closing our eyes like she's doing. She's shooting the arrow and it's like, whatever it lands on is what I'm going to believe. Whatever my mom told me is what I'm going to believe. Whatever my science teacher told me is what I'm going to believe. Whatever my pastor told me is what I'm going to believe. I'm not going to rock that boat. But at some point, you do come to kind of a crisis point. And I hate to use the word crisis, but you do have to come to these points in our lives where it's like, you have, you're here to experience, expand, evolve, grow. And part of that means shaking up some things that you might have believed before, and removing the blindfold and making some choices about your belief systems that might take you in a different direction, making some more intentional choices in your belief system. So that's what I'm getting here, is that it's just been like, whatever's been served up to me is what I've accepted as truth. And now someone's telling me that, oh, maybe my reality isn't all there is. Maybe my reality is just a snapshot in time and I don't need to be burdened by it as much. Maybe my reality my future reality is really just determined by how I feel, what energetic vibration I'm at, what frequency I'm at, what I've imagined for my life, how much joy I've allowed into my life. And that's really what it is and why imagination is so important. Because if you're um, stuck in a space where you're not enjoying and not finding joy and peace in your life, not finding the fruit of the spirit, love, maybe you don't feel loved, maybe you don't feel safe, whatever it is, if you sit in that energy, you will continue to realize that energy. So the new lesson, the new learning, remember we got the 333 on the phone earlier. I think that was on this video, or was that on a different video? And we got the 333 because we're learning new life lessons, and we have an option to continue to believe the old thing or to possibly believe something new. That's what Two of Swords is all about. Believing the old or the believing the new. Okay, so Spirit, where to next when we make this, if we make this new decision? Oh, two things fell out. Okay, these two things fell out. Okay, I love this. The Lovers. Okay, so the Lovers, this isn't about a romantic relationship. It can be, but in this context, I know it is not. That's not what we're talking about here. Although you may have a personal experience with not being satisfied in your current reality with regards to your romantic relationship. That could be true for you. What I'm really picking up on this, though, is, in the yellow sun here says it all. It's the energy behind the balance. There's a balance here of masculine and feminine. You're coming into, what used to be something you were wrestling with. The truth you were wrestling with is going to bring you to this place of balance, this place of healing, this place of something new and full of love and light. And speaking of which, this is amazing. Ace of Cups. Okay. So as you find this balance, what's really happening, Cups is all about emotional fulfillment. And the Ace is all about starting anew, right? So you're starting a new journey towards emotional fulfillment that you've never had before, because you were in this place of letting some randomness determine your truth and determine what you believe about life. But now you're taking control of that, and you're finding the balance and the truth for yourself. And with that is just the first steps of this journey of emotional fulfillment. So I absolutely love that truth for you. Okay, with that, this new emotional fulfillment, as we shed the emotional weight we don't need to carry, as we shed the emotional burdens of our reality and start find the joy in your reality, right? You got to find the things that you can appreciate about it. It is in that gratitude and appreciation and joy that will allow you to be at a vibrational frequency and a match for something more hopeful for the future. Okay. So you got to get your energetic vibe up. And as you do that, you shed the weight of the burdens of this reality. And as you shed that weight, it happens mentally, emotionally, physically. Your body has to respond to the new you, is what I'm saying. Your body has to respond to this energy. It has to, because your body cannot lie. Okay, with that, I trust that you will have a great day, a great week, and just sending out much love and much blessings to all of you. Peace out.